I'm focused on this theory cause it keeps me from this fire. The Holy Ghost is with me, so my fear I leave behind. My sins were all diminished when he took that breath and died. And if you think I'ma give up on my God, the devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. The devil is a lie.
Hello, this is Christina Barr. You're watching Black Teen News. Hello. Welcome to Black Teen News. I'm your host, Christina Barr, and I hope you guys have been enjoying your holiday thus far. It is Labor Day. As my younger sister would say, it's her birthday month. Birthday is actually tomorrow because, tomorrow's the 3rd. So happy early birthday to her. But I decided I wasn't going to take a break today, contemplating it. But there was so much to talk about, especially with Harris and the statement that she made and the Gold Star families coming out against her. So I wanted to cover it. And there's just so much incredible commentary that's just so off the wall, so stupid. People are like, did Trump break the law? And the media is trying to spin it as if he's so immoral. I'm like, you guys are focusing on the craziest thing. If you're more upset about him being invited to spend time with the families and that he took a picture and maybe did a thumbs up or that he posted a TikTok, then you are the fact that these people are Gold Star families and because of Biden and his incompetence, then you need a heart check. You need a heart check. You seriously do. Joe Biden, not only did we have this massive incompetence that was lethal, there's also no accountability for it. So these families, they've just been through the ringer and they've been disrespected and even ignored by the Biden administration, Biden-Harris administration. And they really haven't had much to say about Kamala Harris. And that has changed because she decided to interject herself. And to be frank, it was probably like an intern who tweeted it out. But nevertheless, it's from her profile and I haven't seen her apologize. So we're going to roll with the punches and say that's from her. And criticize and play some of these remarks from the families. I'm going to play them all. I've seen 8. Some people said that there were more. I haven't seen more. I haven't seen the Trump team post more. Maybe more is out there, but I know there's at least 8. I'm also putting together an article that has a lot of this content on it. So if you, prefer to read long articles as opposed to watching, an hour-long content, I'm going to try to keep this about an hour long today. That will be available at blackteennews.com very soon. But before I jump into everything, I want to encourage you guys to go to blackteennews.com, check out different content on my website, different articles, videos, etc. If you like what I do here, please consider leaving a donation on the website because it does cost a stream. Run my website, all the good stuff so you guys can support. I very much do appreciate it. If you're watching on Facebook, you guys can send stars. Watching on YouTube, you guys can send super chats. Another good way to support is to look at the store, look at different merch that's there available. Like the I'm Not the Victim, You're Looking for a t-shirt and other stuff. I do have some books you guys can check out, like the Slay Your Fear, How to Overcome a Spirit of Fear. That's one of my 2 nonfiction books. The other nonfiction book that I have is, of course, God Is Blatantly Against Abortion. And I do have a new edition of the book. So I encourage you guys to check that out. Even if you've read the other version, there's another one. So you guys can go ahead and check that out. And if you haven't read it, well, there's a one with more content. So go ahead and read it. It covers rights, theology, science, philosophy, and debunks a lot of misconceptions people have about theology in the Bible regarding abortion. Also, reasons why, even if you don't believe, why it's still good to treat life as though it has inherent value. And we really do already, but I don't want to get into a big intro and get off topic with that. But we can talk about it another day. And we normally do. All my other books are Our fiction, they range from children's chapter books onto like basically new adult. And the Carytown Book Festival, that's gonna be in Ann Arbor on the day before. No, not the day before, the day, because election's on Tuesday. So that Sunday before election, I will be in Ann Arbor. And I have a slot. I think it's from maybe 10 to noon is my slot. I think I'm the first slot because I won't have like a booth that's like there the whole time. They have like 2-hour increments for author signings. So if you're in that area, I will be there. You can get a signed book, but you have to come between the hours of 10 and 12 to get a signed book from me. Also, I'll be at Motor City Comic Con. I believe that is after the election. So I don't know the exact date. Motor City Comic Con, you can easily Google it. By then, I hope to have my children's book out. My sister's working on the illustrations right now. And I think there's something else local. I should be at the Oakland Christmas book fair thing too, but I put my stuff in late for that, so we'll see. I'll let you know if they still have the space. But anyway, I'll update you guys on that later. But let's get to the meat of the news. Thank you for the early birthday to my sister. I will make sure to say something tomorrow, but she probably appreciates it. I don't know if she's not at work watching. Sometimes they watch while they're at work, but they have the day off. So I don't know if they're watching me or not. But let's hop to the news. So you guys know that very often I'll be pretty annoyed with some stuff that Trump will say. And I've been pretty annoyed at like some of his comments about abortion and so on. But it seems like no matter what this man says, it's like a ping pong. There's always something so insanely stupid and gross that Democrats will do. And Kamala Harris and her statement about the families going to Arlington is so stupid. Now, she tried to make her focus on Donald Trump, but the family spoke out against her. So let me pull up her actual tweet that she wrote. It went beyond just the Arlington thing. She brought up losers and suckers and all that stuff. So it's funny that they're coming for Trump because they think that he used Arlington to make this political, when the point of mentioning Trump is because you're being political. Like, you could have just let the weekend go and ignored them, and maybe they would have been upset that you ignored them. But you to bring attention to this is just insane. It's politically insane. Now, I don't again, who knows if she wrote this? Could have been an intern, but it's under her name. And I haven't seen her denounce this. I don't think they can really delete stuff if they're elected officials, but it's up here. And the media has been trying to cover for her. I'll show you guys some different media stuff, but let's at least start with her tweet and go from there. And again, it's just dumb. It's just dumb. No matter how dumb you think Trump might do something, it might upset you or whatever, there's always going to be something from the Harris team that is so crazy. Let me zoom this out so I can read a little bit better from where I'm sitting. Okay. As vice president, I have had the privilege of visiting Arlington National Cemetery several times. It is a solemn place, a place where we come together to honor American heroes who have made the ultimate sacrifice and service to this nation. It is not a place for politics. Again, she's mentioning all this for politics, which will be very evident in a second. And yet, as was reported this week, Donald Trump's team chose to film a video there, resulting in an altercation with cemetery staff. Let me be clear, the former president disrespected sacred ground, all for the sake of a political stunt. Now, the altercation that she's talking about, The family is saying we don't know what you're talking about. The families are like, we didn't see anything, none of us heard anything. We're in a pretty big group. And because they're saying like someone was verbally attacked and pushed. Now there was like staff that didn't want them to record, but they're like, okay, the family wants us to record. The family invited us here. It's not up to you. So I, anyway, this is nothing new from Donald Trump. This is a man who has called our fallen service members suckers and losers and disparaged Medal of Honor recipients. Now, the suckers and losers saying, I've debunked that. And there was people who were on, part of his administration, former administration, that came out and debunked that as soon as it came out. And I recently, was it yesterday? I put up an article. You guys can go check it out at blacktnews.com that went over the suckers and losers thing again. So when the story first dropped from the Atlantic, I did debunk it with lots of information from John Bolton's book, information from military documents, because the Atlantic article says that Trump didn't want to go to the cemetery in Paris because they said it was because of the rain and the helicopters didn't want to fly, but that's not true. He didn't want to go because he didn't want to get his hair wet, because he thought soldiers were losers and suckers, and he didn't want to go to a place where there are a bunch of suckers in the ground or something like that. But that's not true. There's military documents that confirm that they did not want to fly that day. They didn't recommend it. And John Bolton's book talks about that day, and John Bolton hates Trump's guts now. So it's not like he was just really kind of trying to cover for Trump because he appreciated him so much. And there's other folks that were like, Trump never said anything like that. But in this new article, I mentioned that John Kelly came out to CNN and tried to confirm some things that were in that article. And in the statement, he also mentions that Trump didn't want to go to the cemetery. Now, this is very curious because John Kelly was the one who told Trump not to go to the cemetery because of the rain. And it's also very interesting because John Bolton notes in his book that John Kelly, that Trump got a lot of pushback from the media for not going that day. People were teasing about the rain and other stuff. And Trump took it out on John Kelly, the bad press. He took it out on him. And John Bolton thought that was unfair. So there's some complicated, complex emotions between all these actors here, right? So I'm not saying that he just blatantly made something up to disparage Trump, but there's some bad blood there. But regardless, it still doesn't make sense why you would be mad at Trump and say, there's somebody who didn't even want to go to the cemetery. You literally told him not to go. You literally told him not to go. So there's all that information there. So I encourage you guys to check that stuff out. Now, different conversations and stuff that he said about, the article mentioned stuff that he said about McCain. He said what he said about McCain. They don't like each other, okay? Or McCain didn't like him. He's now since passed. But they try to mishmash all this stuff and feelings that people have about Trump and perceptions that people have about Trump and include all this he said, she said stuff. But the actual meat of the article can't be true. It is not true. And it is driven by a bias. So I encourage you guys to check that out. But let's keep reading. A man who, during a previous visit to the cemetery, reportedly said of fallen soldiers, "I don't get it. What was in it for them?" This man, that's also alleged in that article. This is a man who is unable to comprehend anything other than service to himself. If there is one thing on which we as Americans can all agree, it is that our veterans, military families, and service members should be honored, never disparaged, and treated with nothing less than our highest respect and gratitude. And it is my belief that someone who cannot meet this simple, sacred duty should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States of America. Somebody thought they were slaying when they wrote. They thought they were slaying. Oh my gosh. I will always honor the service and sacrifice of all the America's fallen heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice on behalf of our beloved nation and our cherished freedoms. I mourn them and salute them, and I will never politicize them. This is entirely politicized. This post is entirely politicized. It was so stupid, knowing that those those families invited them out, knowing that Kamala Harris has never reached out to them to express her condolences, to try to get them any sort of answers, to get them any sort of justice. There's no accountability, and they know this. They know this, but they still allowed her to write this, or some intern wrote it and just made herself look like a complete fool. It's incredible. It's incredible. So they thought they slayed. So with that, I've got to play you guys some of these clips from the families. I've got to do it, that address how political her video was. So the Trump camp, they did like compile some of them for a video. I was gonna make one myself. I just haven't gotten around to it because I started writing on my article. Maybe I will have something done tomorrow. By then, maybe we'll see. My video will be, spoiler alert, better than Trump's. I'm just really good at what I do. I just haven't had a lot of time to make separate campaign videos. So let's start with this one right here. Very fiery.
Kamala, your statement is nothing more than a political spin to help you look better in your presidential campaign against Donald Trump. You have never walked a single day in our shoes. Our kids were murdered because of your administration, and you are partly to blame for that as well. What happened at Arlington was President Trump was invited by those families who have their soldiers buried at Arlington. They were invited there as a friend, as somebody who has taken the time numerous times on numerous occasions to hear our stories, to speak our kids' names, and to help us get some accountability from your administration, because in over 3 years, we have gotten nothing but more and more lies. Just like your statement, more and more spun lies and cover-ups to make you and your administration look good. But there is one thing that you said in your statement that was true. No one should be running for president if they cannot honor military members, their families, as well as veterans.
Snaps.
So I guess that means that you should step down, Kamala.
Boom. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. I guess that means you should step down. And there's more. I'm not going to play all of them. Especially Darren Hoover's video. I did post his on YouTube. His is like 5 minutes long. I'll talk about some details in it, but I'm not going to play the whole thing. But this one was rather bold.
Vice President Harris, my name is Steve Nakui. I'm the father of Lance Corporal Kareem M. Nakui. And your administration killed my son, deliberately in exchange for political theatrics so you could have a final day of the evacuation coincide with September 11th. Ignoring the advice of your generals, the Doha Agreement, and countless other veterans and members of Congress. Denying the safety of the Afghans and the servicemen and women. Your choice to play politics in 2021 killed 170 Afghans, 13 U.S. service members, and wounded 45 of our service members, as well as countless Afghans. You were not at Dover for the dignified transfer. At no time have you reached out to me to offer your condolences, to offer thank you for Kareem's sacrifice and service. Not once have you honored him by saying his name, so I said it for you. You have disparaged all 13 who have lost their lives as well as their families, exhibiting your lack of gratitude by your silence. I agree with you on one thing, that a person like you should never and will never stand behind the seal of presidency. You are a DEI vice president. and contrary to our kids, the worst that America has to offer. I will pray for you that God has mercy on your soul.
Jeez. That's when I read the part about the stand behind the seal that Kamala wrote, and I started like, they thought they slayed, because I had the hindsight of knowing that they were going to mention that, and they used that. By the way, I have to say this. I posted some of these videos on TikTok, and when I'm about to show you guys, went pretty viral. And Kamala Harris saying nobody should disparage these people, and she needs to tell that to the Democrat Party. She needs to tell that to the Democrat Party, because there's so many comments that are disparaging these people, that are criticizing them for being there, how they behave there, for asking Trump to be there, which they also asked. Well, some of them asked Kamala Harris and Joe Biden come. I don't think all of them wanted to be there, but they were invited. And but they should have reached out and showed care and given some answers to these families before now. Anyway, they have not been properly respected. Afghanistan, I understand why they'd rather just pretend like Afghanistan didn't happen or not have to talk about it too much, because it's utterly embarrassing. But when you are the president of the United States and the vice president of the United States, someone has to be held accountable. And they didn't even hold grunts accountable for their blunders. Not even grunts. So these families, I understand them being upset. I do. But one of the stupidest criticisms that I'm seeing online about these videos is that some people are like, they're reading from a script. You can tell they're reading from a script. Look at that. So if you have something important you want to say, not everyone can go off the cuff. Not everyone has that experience. A lot of these people are like, I don't know, Gen Z boomers and stuff like that. Maybe they're not totally used to, some of them are like, I don't usually do social media. You see, like, some people, their quality of their camera is not good. Maybe it was kind of fuzzy. It doesn't seem like that's kind of their forte, right? So yeah, maybe some of them wrote down how they feel. Sometimes when I do a video before I even start filming it, like a TikTok or something, I've been going over the words and stuff a lot, but some people write it down. I've done so many videos working with people and they want a teleprompter, and I'll get an iPad and I'll set up a teleprompter. Nowadays, people do earbuds and like the wireless earbuds and stuff, and they'll have a pre-recording of themselves, and it's like covered by their hair or something, telling them their speech, and they'll just say their speech that way. It's a pretty interesting way to do it now. But I've worked with elected officials that will not say just about anything without a teleprompter. And sometimes that's just how people are. It doesn't mean that what they're saying isn't sincere and from the heart, because they write it down. So many times I get live with you guys and I express things and you guys are like, oh, she's very eloquent and says things great and stuff. But other times I'm like, but I know I can write this so much better than what I'm saying it. And I think I say things and express things pretty well, but it's a different flow when I write. Not everybody is the same. Sometimes people can speak way better than they can type. And I think I'm pretty good at both. But I totally understand these parents writing down what they had to say because it's important, wanting to make sure that they mention the words about the seal, wanting to make sure that they list all the people who were wounded and injured and all the chaos that happened because of the Afghanistan exit. And they want to make sure that they don't miss anything because their words are important. So if you are a moronic person who's looking at these videos of these parents and you're saying, oh my gosh, they're reading from a script, that doesn't mean that the words aren't valid. It's like, oh, someone gave them that script. You don't know that. You don't know that. By the way, Trump has some good script writers sometimes. Like most of his rally speeches are fine or whatever, but sometimes that stuff sounds like they probably all kind of were capable of writing all that stuff themselves, and feelings that's probably been stewing for over 3 years. So again, if that's your criticism, you need to grow up and just take accountability. Or you can just say nothing. Do you know how easy life would be if so many people would just shut up? If you're like, oh gosh, this looks kind of bad, let's just say nothing and hope this blows over. Can you imagine if Kamala just did that? Or that intern, whoever wrote the post? Maybe it was her. Who knows? Maybe it was her comms director. Maybe it was Kareem. I don't know. Can you imagine if people just shut up and didn't always feel like they needed to dunk on Trump or somebody and basically step on a rake here? They stepped on a nuclear rake, and they're doing their best to still push the blame on Trump. They're framing the story as, oh, you know, Trump uses the Gold Star families to attack Kamala Harris, as opposed to saying Gold Star families finally share their opinions about Kamala Harris. Gold Star families share their opinions about Kamala Harris's post. Because that's what's happening. And Trump is elevating them. The Trump war room or team or whatever, they put the post up. They sure did. They did a compilation. They sure did. They're taking advantage of the opportunity. They sure are. Because it's politics. You can like it, you cannot like it, but they're the one. At the end of the day, their words are still true. And the Biden administration screwed up, and that's why they're Gold Star families. And instead of being courteous for the wishes of the family, they decided to make this political. It's so very interesting that they want to say that Trump made this, but it's so bad because he made this political. That post Kamala Harris made was obviously political. And it's not like she just left it at like, oh, let's just, our Arlington is sacred. And just leave it at that. She brought up the losers and suckers thing and other stuff. So don't play these games with me, man. Don't play. I just don't. The thing I hate about politics the most is just the insincerity and the lies from people. Just be legit. Just be for real. Let's just, let's all debate, but let's be honest about the stuff that we're talking about. Okay.
Vice President Harris, my name is Christy Shamblin. My daughter-in-law, Sergeant Nicole Leanne G., was killed in the Afghanistan exit at Abbey Gate on August 26, 2021. This year, for the 3rd year anniversary of her murder, we welcome President Donald J. Trump to Arlington to lay a wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier with our family and to visit Nicole graveside. President Trump and his team were respectful. They listened to our stories and didn't talk much at all. We welcomed them that day and they were comfort to our family. Vice President Harris, I ask you, why won't you return a call and explain to us how you call my daughter-in-law's death a success? Vice President Harris, why will you not express your condolences yourself? Why have we never heard from you? And finally, why would you take a day where we celebrated the death of our loved one and use it to disparage not only them, but us? President Trump has called, President Trump shows up, and President Trump takes the time to hear our loved ones' stories. Why won't you do the same?
So the fact that they're saying these people haven't reached out to us, we reached out to Trump, he came, he's here, that's a killer. Because they want to make it seem like Trump is a big bad orange man, he only cares about himself, when these people have a relationship with him. Some of them were at the RNC. Some of them have been to his club, I think in New Jersey. I don't know about Mar-a-Lago and stuff. But they have a relationship with him. And if you guys recall, some of the families had very visceral reactions to how Biden handled it. Now, Kamala Harris was not at the dignified transfer. So I guess some of them have never met her. Or maybe all of them have never met her. But Joe Biden, he did meet and talk with the families, and some of them were so upset because he was bringing out the Beau card, and they're like, what does your son who died of cancer have to do with the fact that you're the reason why my kid is dead? So they didn't like how he turned it and made it about him. So that's a big contrast to these people saying that Trump listened to our stories. It's a big difference. And then, of course, there's the image of Biden just checking his watch. The Jen Psaki tried to pretend like didn't happen in like her book or something, and she had to get called out for it. So these people are insane. Insane. There was a post that was so good about Afghanistan that I need to share. And it just went through all of the madness that not all of the madness, but it was a good list. Okay. This was written by Mays here. Oh, I got to share my Twitter feed. I think that's the last. That's 3 of the videos. There's 8 that I'm aware of. If there's more, I'm sorry. But I think there's 8. Some people said that there are more, but I've only seen 8. May said, imagine if Trump were president and his Afghan withdrawal went like this. Against the advice of military leadership, picks September 11th to have it completed by so that he can turn it into a political spectacle. Withdraws in the middle of the night, leaving equipment, money, weapons, and Americans behind. Immediately announces it as a success before any of the chaos begins. Tells the world that it is very unlikely the Taliban will take over Afghanistan. 2 weeks later, tells the world that the Taliban took over Afghanistan. Trump starts blaming Biden. Various world leaders condemn Trump for going at it alone, not coordinating the withdrawal with allies. When confronted with images of people falling out of airplanes, Trump responds with, that was 4 or 5 days ago. I remember that, man. That was crazy. 13 American military members are murdered in a terrorist attack during the chaos. And in response, Trump's military drones an innocent family of 10, including 7 children. Trump announces the withdrawal as a success, except bad parts, which he blames on Biden. Trump refuses to say the names of the fallen soldiers. Trump checks his watch multiple times during the dignified transfer of the fallen soldiers' bodies. A devastated parent who is angry that Trump won't even say his son's name is thrown out of the State of the Union, and Trump refuses to take calls from the families of the fallen military members. Then imagine the grieving families invite Trump and Biden to mourn their children with them at Arlington Cemetery. Only Biden shows up. Trump instead spends the day at the beach. Some pictures and videos are taken of Biden with the families. How do you think the media would cover this series of events? Perfectly stated. Because we know. But let me tell you this. We wouldn't have to be having this conversation about how the media would be treating Trump in this scenario, because if Trump was the president and did all the things that Biden did during the Afghanistan pullout, I guarantee you he would have been impeached. I guarantee you he would have been impeached successfully, because he would have gotten enough votes that were crossed over from Republicans to push him out. He would have been successfully impeached for that. You might say, no, Republicans would have stood by him. Oh, that happened 4 or 5 days ago when Biden said that was insane. All of this was insane. Droning the aid worker and his family, like no accountability, none, zero. No, Trump would have fired some people, though, at least. We know Trump would have fired people. No accountability for anything that happened. The most accountability that these families are going to get, unfortunately, is going to be Kamala Harris not being the president. That's probably all the accountability that they're going to get. The only satisfaction that they're probably going to get. Because, I mean, nothing's going to bring back their kids. But nobody was held accountable. So the only option is for Americans to hold them accountable. Some people are like, oh, Trump is taking advantage of them. Trump is taking advantage of them. Have you ever considered that the families are just, in a way, taking advantage of the opportunity? They can get a former president to come there that listens to them and their concerns. And the current president and the vice president who wants to be the president, they won't give them the time of day. So they want their voices to be heard. And then they do this stupid post. So why not lash out and say the things that have been on your mind? Darren Hoover, he said, whatever Trump wants, I will help him. I will help him campaign. Yep, I will. I was at there in C2. I've gone to rallies. I will do whatever I need to. And let me play his let me see if I can find a bit of his interview. His video was like more than 5 minutes long. Maybe it was 6 minutes long. So that's why I didn't play it, but let me see if I can really quickly find his interview and play some of it for you guys.
No, none whatsoever. It was supposed to be an intimate moment, and it was, with two individuals, mainly President Trump, that has supported us and loved us and had us at his Bedminster in Mar-a-Lago to sit down with us and share in our pain and everything that we've been going through. It was not meant to be political in any sense of the word.
Was there an altercation? Was there shoving or anything of that sort?
Not that we saw, not that we heard. There was none of that. I don't know where that came from, because we were in a large group. None of our friends or family of the individuals that were there saw any of it. We didn't hear any of it. I don't know what they're talking about.
Going forward, what do you envision for your role in campaigning for President Trump and for Governor Cox?
Whatever they need. Whatever they need. President Trump has had us at some of his rallies, and obviously we were at the RNC, and we're recognized in a beautiful, beautiful montage. But absolutely anything they need. I'm not worried one bit about it. I support both of them, and I'd be honored to do it.
Do you believe that you're being used, for lack of a better word, for political purposes?
Not at all. Not at all. If I thought that, I wouldn't be doing any of this.
And your son, on a personal note, with in terms of your son, what has the last several years been like for you and your family, and what would you like to see happen going forward?
The last 3 years have been, for lack of a better way of saying it, a living hell, honestly. But at the same time, it's been unifying for us. The support from around the country, from the state to the country to even the world, has been absolutely amazing. And going forward, we've got a foundation that we've set up in Taylor's name. And as part of that foundation, we award scholarships to kids, deserving kids, who demonstrate honor, courage, and commitment, and in their communities, send them to either a traditional college or to a trade school. And we just started this year by awarding a very deserving veteran of a canine. He was one of the men that was standing next to Taylor when he was killed. Tyler lost his left leg and his right arm. And so it was an honor for the foundation to give him that dog to help him in his daily activities. Tyler's a strong kid, but it's been an honor.
Well, it's beautiful.
Yes, it is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So it just kills me them people coming for these families. So he said, I'm not being taken advantage of. If I thought I was being used, I wouldn't be here. So let's talk about Trump. Did he actually break the law? Because that's what people are going with, that he broke the law. So let me show you guys the TikTok that Trump made that has made everyone so upset, and apparently is why they think that. I don't know what people want, because the law that he allegedly broke doesn't have any sort of like punishments on it. So I don't know if they think that he should get, I don't know, 34 counts of a felony charge and have to go to jail or what. I don't know if it's a stern finger wave. I don't know what these people want from Trump here, but there's in the law that he allegedly broke, and I'll read the law. It doesn't have any kind of particular punishment, but
great people. What a horrible day it was. We didn't lose one person in 18 months. And then they took over that disaster, the leaving of Afghanistan. We lost 13.
now
great
now it's
people.
replaying. Yeah, that was it. Just really quickly, snippets. No call to action there. Criticizing Biden. I'll be saying we didn't lose anybody in this particular time frame. They took over. It was a disaster. So there's some statements. You can call them political. You can call them the truth. But that's the video. So let's now look at the actual law. Now, first things first, according to Arlington's website, you can actually take photos. So let me read Arlington's website before their media policy. Let me zoom this up. I need new eyes, y'all. Okay, photography. Photography is permitted within the grounds of Arlington National Cemetery, so it's allowed. Photographers who are members of the news organizations need to make arrangements for media escort by contacting the ANC Public Affairs Office. There's a number there. We ask media and cemetery visitors to respect the solemnity of Arlington National Cemetery by refraining from taking pictures of or filming someone who is visibly mourning. Please ask for permission to film or photograph those visiting a gravesite. So you can film, you can take photos. If you're going to take photos of somebody who's like, please try not to take photos of people like visibly mourning, but you do need like permission to like film. Don't go to Arlington and be filming folks. Okay. That's the rules that's on the website. Now, let me switch it up and bring up the actual law that people are saying that Trump broke. And again, I don't know what kind of repercussions they want from the law here, because there's not any sort of punishment laid out. I don't know if they want a public flogging or what. Conduct of memorial services and ceremonies. The executive director shall ensure the sanctity of public and private memorial and ceremonial events. All memorial services and ceremonies within Army, national, military cemeteries, other than the official ceremonies, shall be purely memorial in purpose and may be dedicated only to the memory of all those interred in turn or memorialized in the Army, national, military cemeteries, the memory of all those who died in the military service of the United States while serving during a particular conflict or while serving a particular military unit or units, or the memory of the individuals to be interred or memorialized at the particular site at which the service or ceremony is held. Memorial services and ceremonies of the Army, national, military cemeteries will not include partisan political activities. So that's the section right there. Private memorial services may be closed to the media and public as determined by the descendants' primary next of kin. and public memorial services and public wreath laying ceremonies shall be open to all members of the public to observe. So that bit there about the partisan political activities are not permitted, but you guys just heard them say that it was solemn. They didn't. I don't know if they said in the other video, but they in the father's other video, he said that they didn't discuss politics. It wasn't like a little rally. They didn't get up and say Biden sucks. It wasn't anything like that. They, as a matter of fact, one of the Gold Star family members said that Trump didn't really say much of anything. He mostly just listened to their stories. He didn't, decide to talk about his, family and all that stuff that Joe Biden usually does when he's in a situation like that. He listened. Yes, he did he did take photos. Apparently the family wanted photos. Yes, he did film. Apparently the family was fine with them doing that and wanted them to do that. So did he do anything political in nature there? It doesn't sound like he did. But then there's just TikTok. He makes his TikTok. So he obviously took that footage and he made a TikTok. And it's hard to argue that it's not political. With the commentary that's on it. I probably wouldn't have did it if I was him, advising him, part of the staff or whatever. Probably wouldn't have did it. Is it like the rage that worthy of the rage that they're putting out there? No, because I doubt that was the reason why they even put that together and went there at all. They went there because they were invited, and again, the families were okay with that, filming that. They probably wanted that footage and stuff to memorialize it as well. He took it and he made a video. Now, if you're saying that it's just wrong to use stuff from Arlington for political purposes, oh gosh, Biden did that, right? Now, I think I showed you guys, I talked about this on Friday a little bit, because I recently showed Biden's Losers and Suckers ad, and it had music on it. It got me flagged for a little bit. So I think I was able to appeal it fine, but I'm not going to, if I find it real quick, I'm not going to play the music. But with the Losers and Suckers and Biden stuff, he had video where women were actually grieving, like over caskets. So it's very interesting to me when we selectively outrage about stuff. Now, I don't want people to go to Arlington and go to ceremonies and bother folks and make big political rallies. I find when there's like some kind of group situation and there's a big like political funeral and Obama or somebody comes and they make political speeches, that is so gross to me. I hate that. I would not like that at all. Like, I think I need to put in a will or something that if I ever die in some kind of mass situation, please don't allow some kind of partisan politics to be making all these kind of different speeches at my funeral. Like, don't do that. I don't like it at all. So I do think the spirit of Kamala Harris trying to say we need to respect Arlington is fine, but that's not why she made that post. She made the post because she wanted to make it political in a way that Trump hadn't made it political. And despite how you feel about him, there's still the fact that there's all these other people involved. You did want him there, and you are still choosing to ignore them and ignore their pain so you can attack Trump. And now the media sees all these videos out there and Trump is reposting them. So what do? They're saying, oh, well, Trump is using them to attack. Then that's actually what Kamala Harris, the New York Times did. Let me show you that tweet. Because these people are freaking gross. Like, you don't hate the media enough. You don't hate the media enough. Trump campaign uses statements from Gold Star families to attack Harris. Again, you could just report that the Gold Star families are attacking Harris or speaking out against Harris. You could do that. Dana Bash, different Trump surrogates, not even necessarily surrogates, but in this case, Tulsi Gabbard would be a surrogate, went on CNN to talk about this stuff. I don't know specifically talk about that, but she was asked about it. And Dana Bash asked way more pushback questions against Tulsi Gabbard with this particular topic than she did when she was interviewing Kamala Harris for their like 16-minute interview. So let me just show you what it looks like. I think I did retweet it. You guys can find it on my feed. It's 5 minutes and 32 seconds. So I'm not gonna she did a good job on the interview, Tulsi Gabbard. I'm not gonna play the interview because it's kind of long, but the media is pretty gross. It's pretty gross. Let me show you some shorter examples. Now, Tom Cotton was interviewed about this. Let me play this video here.
Bottom line, though, I guess, Senator, is it ever appropriate to make campaign content at military grave sites?
He didn't take campaign photos there. These families, Gold Star families, whose children died because of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's incompetence, invited him to the cemetery. And they asked him to take those photos because, as they told me yesterday, when I spoke to Kelly Barnett and Darren Hoover, the parents of Taylor Hoover, who has Arkansas ties, they don't get to go to the beach on Labor Day. They don't get to have barbecues. This is their one chance to have a memory of their children, to commemorate their service and to honor their sacrifice. They wanted President Trump there. They wanted to take those photos. You know who the families also invited? Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Where were they? Joe Biden was sitting at a beach. Kamala Harris was sitting at her mansion in Washington, D.C. She was 4 miles away, 10 minutes. She could have gone to the cemetery and honored the sacrifice of those young men and women, but she hasn't. She never has spoken to them or taken a meeting with them.
Well, they did meet with them during the dignified transfer. They were with them at the dignified transfer.
Her and Joe Biden's incompetence, those 13 Americans were killed in Afghanistan.
Now, just so you know, Kristen was wrong. And there should have been like an immediate clarification. I don't believe there was. They did write something online. On our broadcast this morning, we incorrectly implied that both President Biden and Vice President Harris attended the dignified transfer of 13 American service members killed during the Afghanistan withdrawal. Biden was in attendance, but Harris was not. Now you guys just heard. Use your ears, right? You just heard what happened. Did it sound like she implied that Harris was there? Or did she directly state that Harris was there? Because there's a difference when you imply something and you just plainly say something that's not true. There's a difference. There's a difference. So even this correction is dishonest. It's dishonest. And the family members here, they deserve more than a tweet. And Tom Cotton, by the way, is just really killing it on the interview game. Tom Cotton is great. Tom Cotton is great. He should do all the Sunday shows. The media is trash. Let me play another one for you. But he said the families wanted him there. The families want him to take those photos. I wouldn't say that this is like that this stuff is like political, guys. And some people were like saying in the videos I posted of the Gold Star families, like why did they even have him, or why did they have him there? Why did they even invite him? Because they wanted to. Because they wanted to, and he would come. And they probably feel that if he was president, their children would be alive. I would put money on that. If Trump was president, that they feel that their kids would be alive. And since they've had no closure, and Biden-Harris has no desire to offer them proper closure, most of them, I would say, probably really want him to win. Maybe him being there, besides the fact that it's cool that the former president shows up, It's cool when they do. It was cool that we got Trump to like his office to send a commemoration of my grandma turning 100. I'm sure when someone filled out her ballot, it was probably Democrat. So, but we still got that commemoration. It was cool to us. She thought it was cool too. So yeah, it's kind of awesome. Again, they invited both Biden and Harris and Trump, and he showed up. And Tom Cotton mentioning that Kamala Harris could have come. It was like 10 minutes away. Really damning, I think. This is not a controversy. I'm sorry. This is just, I don't think so. But they're so desperate to hate him. So desperate. It's crazy. And I'm not saying, you guys know I'm not a sycophant. I'm not a propagandist for the Trump administration. You guys know this. If you watch my stuff, if you read my stuff, you know. You know. So I'm not saying that Kamala Harris and them stepped on a radioactive rake because I want to make Trump look good. I will always do my darndest kind of make her look bad, but be fair, I guess, you know. I didn't go as hard as her about the debate situation than other folks because I just didn't think it was awful as some other people said. So I tried to be fair about it, but I very much dislike Kamala Harris, very much. But I'm just trying to be truthful here, and it was just stupid. I've worked in politics. I do still stuff. I do still do things that are like, you know, contract in nature from folks, making videos, consulting kind of stuff. I'm involved with PACs and other stuff. This was so stupid and so inconsiderate. Just wildly inconsiderate. There's something wrong with their hearts. I don't want to sound cheesy, but there's something wrong. Like their humanity is broken. To overlook these families again so you can attack Trump. It's just the least you could have did was show up. The least that she could do is say their names. Isn't it amazing how many of them have said, "You won't even say my child's name"? And she didn't do some kind of video statement. They released like an email or something. Still hasn't spoken their names. Hasn't found enough compassion to dial a number and say, "Hello, how is your family doing?" That should be the damning thing about Kamala Harris. People going like, "Oh, she's so fun, joy." That's not who she is. That's not who she is. Oh gosh, no, that was Tim Walz. That's the wrong video. That's a good video. We'll have to share it for tomorrow. I'll go ahead and play a little bit of this Tulsi Gabbard interview, but I'm not going to play all 6 minutes or 5.5 minutes.
I do want to move on to what is happening with regard to controversy after the former president visited Arlington National Cemetery this week. His campaign took photos and video of him in Section 60, where veterans of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan are buried, used it in a campaign video. The Army also says that Trump staffers abruptly pushed aside a cemetery official who tried to enforce Arlington's rules prohibiting political activities. I know you were with Trump at least earlier in that day at the tomb of the unknown soldier. Did you witness the altercation at Section 60?
I was there from the beginning with the laying of the wreaths, with the family members, the Gold Star family members, and some of the survivors of that terrorist attack. in that disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. I was with them at Section 60, and what I saw was a very grave and somber remembrance and honoring of those lives that were lost. And I saw President Trump spending time at the invitation of these Gold Star families with them. He was there for a few hours. I did not see or hear about any kind of altercation until something came out in the news later on. The families were there grieving alongside President Trump, and it was a very special moment to really remember their names, remember their memories, and understand the true cost of war and the consequences of the decisions that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden made in the execution of that withdrawal.
Yeah, and it is very clear that the former president was invited in his personal capacity, as you said, by a family of one of the service members who was killed about 2 years ago during the withdrawal from Afghanistan.
It was 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
3 years
Thank you.
ago
Thank
to
you
the
for
day
correcting
on
me.
August
Yes,
26th.
3 years ago.
Ugh.
The question
Messed up
is
that year, man.
about the federal law and Arlington's rules that prohibit partisan or political activities at national cemeteries. And the military and also other members of other families who are buried right near there are upset about the campaign filming it and posting the video online. Do you believe that was appropriate?
You know, I checked with the campaign on this question, and they have exchanges with the officials at Arlington Cemetery. They were approved to bring a camera there to document this historic and momentous day that should not be forgotten by any American. And to have a former president there and joining these Gold Star families, I know President Trump wanted to share that with others, especially given the fact that President Biden and Harris, I heard, were invited by some of these family members. They not only didn't come, they didn't even respond to that invitation. And now to have Kamala Harris put this statement out yesterday saying that she stands with these families, she stands with the military and with veterans. You only have to look at the response that came from the Gold Star families of these 13 service members of how offended they were by that statement, given she has not made any effort, not on that third anniversary or any other time, to call them directly to offer her condolences and even apologies for their decisions that led to the loss of their loved ones.
Do you think that the campaign will release that communication that you're talking about? Because the Army is saying very clearly that they broke the rules because it was clearly put out online, pictures, video, meant as a part of his campaign.
I thought they already had. I was informed that they had come to an agreement. They could bring a camera there. And as far as I know, and the public statements I've seen from the Army, is that the matter is closed.
I think the matter is closed about the altercation, alleged altercation, which you didn't see, but I'm not sure it's closed with the idea that they seem to have broken the rules and perhaps even federal law.
This is like the most awkward I've ever seen Dana or Dana. Do you guys agree? Like, is that I don't know how often you guys see clips or watch CNN, but this just seems like such an awkward encounter. Maybe because it's such a serious topic, but they just want to, simp for their candidate so bad. With these journalists, you want to ask questions and make sure that people are telling the truth and hold people accountable and stuff. And that's supposed to be like part of the job for the media, to be the, because you're doing something for the American people, so I understand pushback and other stuff like that. But the Kirsten Welker, for example, talking to Tom Cotton and saying, well, Kamala Harris, she was at the transfer. She wasn't. And maybe she genuinely thought that she was, but she should know better, I guess. It's not their job to protect the Democrat that they want to protect. Like Kirsten did the same thing, pushing, like, when someone says something about abortion or whatever, she'd be like, oh, well, the Democrats, they only believe in late term, and it's only in really, really, really sad circumstances. And that's not even true. I wish a Republican would just like bring up actual data and studies and so on and debunk that. But just like, that's a really pleasant fiction. And I understand why people want to believe that. But the truth is, blah 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 blah, and just list different studies and stuff. You can go to Secular Pro-Life; they have a lot of stuff that they've written about it. But they try their darndest when they can to try to help those Democrats out, when they can. And there's a different pushback that they have for Democrats versus Republicans. I'm not saying that they can't do random acts of journalism, as Rush Limbaugh would say. They can do their job sometimes, but more often than not, they are just mouthpieces of the Democrat Party. And that girl, she used to work in the White House, but she doesn't work in the White House anymore. She has long brown hair, kind of young. I can't think of her name. She was on Bill Maher recently, and she tried to say like, "Oh, well, we do our job and we cover the facts, and we covered Biden when people had questions about his health." It's like, yeah, that was after you guys wanted him gone. Before that, you guys were pretending that he was fine. So don't try to use that as an example of CNN being fair and balanced and just trying to get the truth out. We almost watched the entire interview between them, but there's another video that I have to show you guys from the Gold Star families, because that made me remember something that one of the family members said about Kamala Harris and how she's treated Gold Star families and whether or not she actually cares about the military.
Good afternoon. My name is Herman Lopez. I'm a Gold Star father. My son, Corporal Hunter Lopez, was a U.S. Marine killed in action on August 26, 2021. This message is intended for Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm not a person who usually takes to social media, but earlier today, your post regarding the incident at Arlington National Cemetery was brought to my attention. After reading it, it caused a reaction with me. You indicated in your post that you support the military and military families. I, for one, have not seen that support. It's been 3 years since my son was killed in action, and myself, my family, and other Gold Star families have not seen any support from you or your administration. You may make hollow promises about the economy or anything else you'd like to make promises about. But one thing that I ask of you, and the reason I'm making this message, is for you to stop making comments about your support for the military. As a Gold Star father, I know that you have not supported us. I know that you have not supported other Gold Star families. Please stop making these types of comments because that support has not been demonstrated. Your words are hollow and empty. My other request is that for the American public to know that these messages, these promises from Kamala Harris, especially in regard to supporting the military and our military families, are false and baseless. They have not been proven, and she has not earned our respect. Thank you very much.
Wow. He said, please stop pretending. Please stop pretending. I want to play this video, and if I can find this other one really quick, and then I'm about to try to close you guys out.
We invited both President Trump and the Biden-Harris administration, and we didn't hear back from the White House. We were happy to welcome President Trump to lay wreaths with all three of our families and our wounded, some of our wounded from that day. And when he came to Section 60, it was at our request to spend time with our loved ones. There was not a press presence there. We privately took pictures among ourselves. And it was, a more celebratory feeling for that day because, we want to celebrate our loved ones, and it's very hard to find ways to do that at a cemetery, but they were very respectful. We didn't see any altercation, and really we just want our loved ones to be honored and remembered in a positive way.
So I think all this stuff just makes the Harris campaign look bad. They're so stupid. They're so stupid. This was when the media was asking her about what happened at Abbey Gate. She came in hot, just laughing.
What's your response report of American. Hold on. Slow down, everybody. I want to talk about two things. First, Afghanistan. What's your
Yeah. They've really instructed her not to laugh, man. She doesn't cackle. I actually haven't really heard her cackle. Joe Biden was asked about the Arlington situation, Mr. Beach. Do people go to the beaches that often? You know, I don't live in a super warm place. I mean, we have lakes, we have beaches and stuff, but I maybe go to beaches like, I don't know. I haven't been in a while. I want to say if I did go, maybe once a year or twice a year or something. But that's a lot, kind of. But Biden seems like he's forever at the beach on vacation, especially while like there's so many things going on in the world, including, which we haven't talked about this episode, we'll talk about tomorrow, but hostages, including an American hostage, being killed in Gaza. And just always forever at the beach. But this was Biden's response when they asked him about Arlington.
Mr. President, what do you think of President Trump's behavior at Arlington Cemetery with the visit to the fallen soldiers?
I don't want to answer things. I might tell you what I think.
Did you watch your vice president's interview on?
I don't want to answer because I might tell you what I think. Okay. I guess he had some choice words that were not PG, maybe. And let's also recall that Kamala Harris was the last person in the room.
We have been.
Oh, sorry, that's
one
Rafa.
step at a time, but we've been very clear on.
That's the Rafa thing. Sorry, wrong video. It's the wrong video. That was her saying that they shouldn't go into Rafah, and that's clearly where they had the hostages. That's another prep for tomorrow. I'll show you the video tomorrow. But she said that she was the last one in the room. I know I had it marked to show you guys. I guess we're over an hour though. Trying to see, was there anything else I wanted to show you guys before I let you go? Regarding this topic, we could talk forever on other stuff, but I only wanted to talk about this today. I'm not seeing this other clip that I wanted to show you guys. So I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna close this out. And I'm not gonna do 5 closings. So anyway, thank you guys for joining me today. I do have an article that will have a lot of this. It'll have all of the videos from the 8 that I've seen. Will all be in the article. Kamala Harris's, last person in the room that I meant to show you guys, but I'll start playing another video. It'll have the information about the laws that they say that he broke, the Trump's TikTok, a lot of things I've shown you today and more. Just it'll be in article form. So if you want to share it around, you guys can do that. So I'll have that up, soon enough. So thank you guys for joining me today. And if you're watching and you happen to be a Democrat or something and you've tuned in, like just take the L on this, man. Just I don't understand people deciding to come after these families and saying some of the things that people I've seen on like social media. It's just really silly. Now, most people are expressing their condolences and are, defending them and defending Trump and, just think the whole situation is awful. So most people from the comments, because I'm just being bombarded by so many comments on the videos that I posted now, but most of them are positive. But there's some Democrats that are really swinging for the fences. It's okay to take the L. It's okay. Republican, Democrat, listen to me. It's okay to say that your team made a mistake, that your guy, your girl made a mistake, and to want them to do better. And people can get mad at you for saying, hey, your person needs to do better. People get mad at me for saying whatever. But it's okay to criticize and to want them to be better, do better. I think it's pretty gross that Kamala Harris, that they thought that they could write that tweet and just expect that the families wouldn't mention that she's never called in 3 years. And I think there's a lot of political malpractice there. And it speaks to the lack of intelligence, the bad decision making that will go and follow them into, being the president if she wins, or the kind of staff that she will have if she wins. One of the things that was scariest to me, like when Bernie Sanders was running, I'm like, Simone Sanders, for example, I'm like, this woman is like racist, and she's like his. She did stuff for him. I don't know if she ran his campaign or was suppressed or something, but she was on the Bernie team. And then when Joe Biden decided to run for re-election, he hired Simone Sanders. I'm like, oh, so this is where Joe Biden's team is going. This is the direction. He's definitely not going to be a moderate. I know he's not going to be a moderate, but if you can look at how people start staffing their campaign to kind of know how the direction of probably their administration is going to go. So I would be concerned for so many different reasons about Kamala Harris being president. So again, you can be mad at Trump about something all day long, and then it's like ping pong. There's just something so worse on their side. That's just so stupid. Beyond it being gross and inappropriate, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. And man, they should be attacked for this, man. And the media should go in hard at them, but that's why they're trying to misdirect and frame it as, oh, Trump is using the families. It's Republicans pounce. You have to watch for that. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but the mainstream media, pay attention for the Republican pounce type articles, because when there's something that is legitimately critical of Democrats, they will frame the story as, oh, Republicans say, Republicans do this, Republicans are upset about this, instead of just reporting about the dumb things that the Democrats are doing. They'll frame it through the lens of Republicans being upset, so their viewers know, hey, Republicans are upset about this, so I shouldn't be, because we hate those guys. And then people feel defensive and they want to defend their team, as opposed to looking at the facts and being like, no, they screwed up. No, I don't like the policy. That's a bad thing. So that's how the media is choosing to cover these things. And it's really unfortunate. They're the enemy of the people. People hate it when Trump said that, but it's true, because they're not devoted to truth. These people aren't even devoted to the First Amendment. They just want freedom for themselves, but they want everybody else to get shot down when they don't meet their standards, when they say it's misinformation or whatever. You guys have seen what's going on with Brazil and X, and how like their Supreme Court is cut off people from being able to go on X, and they're going to fine people thousands of dollars if they have a VPN. There's just a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. Will be plenty to talk about tomorrow, so I'm sure it'll be an interesting show. Thank you all. Please go to blacktnews.com. Check out different content on my website, articles, videos, etc. Like the article I just published yesterday about the losers and suckers hoax, and the one that will cover like the Gold Star family stuff. I'll have that out soon. You guys can check out different merch available on the website there. If you guys want to support, the best way to support is to go to blacktnews.com/donate, because it does cost to stream and run my site, all that good stuff. So you guys can support. I appreciate it. Check out different merch, and God bless you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.